Hi, welcome to Heart of Gold. I am Paul Chartier. We're going to hear about KVC Kentucky, where people matter. Megan
right.
Moore, you're in development
Yes.
with KVC, and Ted Schaffhauser, you are a foster parent.
That's correct.
We're going to find out about you. I have never heard of KVC Kentucky, and if you can tell people like me a little overview of who you are and what you do, Megan.
Sure. We are an in-home behavioral health provider. So we have several different programs. We work with children and families who are in need of clinical or case management services. We have a small foster care program as well, so we train foster parents, and then children who need a foster home can come into one of our homes, and then we provide support there too. So we have about 200, a little over 200 staff, and we have 8 offices, and all the work that we do is in the home, school, and community with kids. So even though we have 200 staff, we have very small offices, very few people work from the office, but we really come alongside families in times of crisis and try to empower them and give them skills to have better family situations.
Let's get specific, not in names, but of situations. Tell people exactly, connect the dots. Who do you work with, and then what can you provide for them?
We have several programs. One of our largest program is a contract with the Cabinet for Health and Family Services to provide in-home services for children who are at risk of removal. So these families have had a report from social services and have had an investigation and have an ongoing or open case. And contrary to popular belief, our state social workers don't want to remove kids. It's their goal to keep kids in the home if it's at all possible. And so we work with them to be able to provide services that families would need to have support, to learn new skills, to learn ways of interacting, even providing for basic needs. Some families need housing or need food or need to learn skills for budgeting or job training skills. And so we have programs that do that. And then we have another contract with the Cabinet to provide what they call diversion services. So the goal would be to divert kids from out-of-home care. So these are kids, these children are at risk of removal. And so the Cabinet, we work with them to be able to provide supportive services in the home.
When you say removal, bad home life to keep them safe, or bad kids to get them out?
I hate saying bad kids. There's no bad kids. There are kids that are in tough situations, and there are families that are really in tough situations. And so these are kind of high-risk families where there's instability in the home, there's habitability issues, so maybe the home, they don't have beds or they don't have food. There's also kids with significant traumatic histories, so they've been through a lot. I don't believe that any parent sets out to abuse their children, but circumstances sometimes they make mistakes, and so we can go in and help teach them things to help have better relationships, more positive relationships. But they are, these are in that program, these are families who really struggle, and we get the privilege of coming alongside them in a time of crisis and being able to provide help and support.
We want to put your website on the screen, and we'll talk a little bit about what people can see, and then go to the website and then find out how they can help families and make the right kind of phone calls. Ted, you are a foster parent.
Foster parent, 8 years now.
How does that work? How did you get involved in it? And is it a rotation of children? How does that
Well,
happen?
for us specifically, fostering was not necessarily the goal. The intent was to adopt, and we took courses and became foster parents, eligible foster to adopt parents with the state. And sort of, I guess, just out of necessity, we decided that we would consider other options than just an infant. And I think about a week after we were approved, they called with a very unique situation. 3 children that were in a sibling group, 2 4-year-olds and a 6-year-old that needed to be placed very quickly from another county. We actually were moving to a new home the day this occurred, and the home, obviously we had plenty of room, and we decided we could accommodate them, and so that's how we ended up with 3 at one time.
And how long did they stay with you?
They've stayed permanently, and they've been adopted for a significant period of time now.
I see the halo above your head.
No,
That's
it's horns. There's
That
just
is
a class.
fantastic. And you've had
Thank
them
you.
how long?
They came to our home March of '07 and have been there ever since. Ours situation was a little bit unique in the fact they came in. There was not the ability for any parent visitations. They came to us and stayed immediately. They had not been in other placements. They came directly from their biological home to us and have stayed.
For people watching that may think they want to become foster parents, what did you do for training and background, and then how were you prepared to take on these kids?
The state, the Cabinet for Health and Family Services has a program that you go through. It's an 8-week program, I believe, where you become a certified resource home, and you can choose to simply foster, or you can be a concurrent home, which means if the opportunity arises, you will then adopt those children, or you can be simply an adoptive home where you would only consider children that were available for adoption. So they wouldn't come in the home as foster children. They would already have, the parental rights would have already been terminated, and they would be available for adoption the minute they came to you.
And if people want to find out more information about becoming foster parents, do they call KVC or the state?
So our state works with training their own foster parents. So like Ted was a foster parent with the state, and then KVC, we do private foster care. We have private foster care agencies. So KVC has a license from the state to be able to train and provide foster families for kids who need homes. And so they can contact us, or they could contact the state. We have a very small foster care program, but we really love our foster parents and love the kids that are in our homes. We have phenomenal kids and phenomenal parents, and we have a lot of, we're what's called a therapeutic foster care provider, and so the kids that come into our homes oftentimes have a higher level of need. So they have experienced a lot of trauma, abuse, and neglect, and they just need additional support. And so as a therapeutic foster care provider, we have a therapist and a case manager that also works with the family and helps to learn skills, helps to stabilize the children in the home. And then we work as a community partner with schools and different agencies, the cabinet, with other community agencies like hospitals or doctor's offices, or
So you're the connection point.
Yeah.
When an issue is going on, you're the safety net, and then you can disperse them to the proper channels to get the right services and medical
So
needs?
we provide clinical services, behavioral health services. We do have a small foster care program. We have a large contract with the Cabinet for Health and Family Services in 60 counties, and then we also do in-home psychotherapy, in-home case management for really for anybody who has a need. And so we are contracted with 4 of 5 managed care organizations to be able to provide behavioral health services for people who may be depressed, who may be anxious, who may need some additional behavioral health care. And the unique thing about our agency is that we actually go into the home, as opposed to, if you needed to go, if you felt like you could use a therapist and have the support of a therapist, you may call your insurance company and say, who's listed on my panel, and go see someone in their office. Well, anybody can call us and say, you're listed with my insurance company, or do you take my insurance company, and here's kind of what's been happening. I've not been feeling good, or I'd like for somebody to come and see me. And so we would take a referral and then assign a therapist to go out and do an evaluation. And because we do in-home, it breaks down real barriers of getting there, of transportation. We'll actually come to you. We would, maybe if it works, we'd go to your office at lunchtime, or but we have really highly skilled clinicians and case managers. Our agency really values training. We want the kids and families that we work with to have the best services out there, and so we provide a lot of support to our clinicians. We have a lot of training. They're trained in a lot of evidence-based practices, so that it's not a one-size-fits-all for every person. And so our clinicians our program is designed to meet the unique needs of each family and child.
How many employees, and then how many people do you serve on an annual basis in Fayette County?
We have over 200 employees. We have 8 offices across the state.
Wow.
Yeah, we basically, if you cut the state in half and Kentucky's in the, and Lexington's in the middle, we're the right side of the state. We serve the whole eastern, northeastern, northern. We go all the way up to Cincinnati.
It's remarkable.
Yeah.
It's good to have you. Let's put the phone number again so people can call you and get great services. Ted, I want to talk to you for a minute. What have these kids brought to your life?
Oh, I really can't describe it. First of all, it changed our lives dramatically, but much for the better. I often get the comment, you know, those kids are so lucky to have you. And I said, you have it wrong. I'm so lucky to have those children. I think my relationship with her organization is a little unique, and I think it's important to clarify that these children came to our home via the state. They were removed. It was apparent very early that given the background and the traumatic history and what they had experienced, there was going to be a need not just for services, therapeutic services to them, but the family as a unit.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime you have that kind of change, it's overwhelming. And KVC provided services not just for the children, but as to help us have a cohesive family unit.
Right.
And you really can't do that in an office setting. They have to come into the home and see the dynamic setting and help us walk through all of the issues and help us sort of determine how we could build a family unit going from 2 to 5.
A lot of the work we do is with families, to help families learn how to interact well, to, you know, a lot of the families that we work with have been through really hard things, and so we try to give them hope through providing support.
Do you, I mean, how does the fee system work? Someone contacts you?
For our services, so our contract with the cabinet to work with families whose children are at risk of removal is funded through state and federal funds.
Okay.
And so that's free to families. And then our Medicaid services, they would just call us, and we, with their managed care company, just like you and your insurance company, parents, adults, children who have Medicaid through Anthem, Passport, Humana, and Coventry, can call us, and we'll go to them and start the process.
Before we show the website, tell me how many people you served last year. Any idea?
Over 10,000, about 10,700.
Statewide or in
Yes,
this region?
in the state.
And think about 10,000 people, families, if they didn't have your services, the chaos, disruption that would have continued if you didn't provide that great guidance and calm that you do. So I'm glad to learn about KVC tonight. This is fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. And Ted's been an amazing foster parent, amazing advocate for children in Kentucky, and we're lucky that he to get to know him and his family.
It's funny, anybody that sits on the couch, not that kind of couch, this couch, they always get more out of it than the people that they're serving. And you're
Thank you. Well, I have to say one thing. I really believe without services from KVC or an organization like that, it would have been very likely that we would not have been successful as a family unit. I think those services were absolutely necessary and are what made us survive as we did.
Ted, thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
This is great to know. I'm glad to share this information and share the Facebook link.
Yeah, we will.
Thanks again. I'm Paul Chartier. We'll be right back on Heart of Gold.